This examination can be found in an 1835 book created for schools and academies in the United States. The link will be in the description so you can come and view this for yourself. There is a longer version of this video which covers all the Tartaria related topics found in this book, but I decided to cut it into smaller sections so it's easier to focus on. So now we come to independent Tartary. Question 1, 2 and 3 are: describe independent Tartary, how is it divided, which is the most interesting part, and describe that. Independent Tartary is a country of great extent. It is bounded on the north by the country of the Kalmucks and Russia, on the east by Chinese Tartary, on the south by Persia and Kabul, and on the west by the Caspian Sea. It is divided into 5 great parts, namely Bukharia, Turkomania, Turkestan, Balkh, Kharizm, and the country of the Kyrgyz. But the most interesting part is Great Bukharia. Great Bukharia comprises the south part of independent Tartary. It is in general fruitful and populous, and inhabited by an active and very industrious people. Why is it called Great Bukharia? And question 5, of what was this country formerly the cradle and seat? This country is about 700 miles in length and 350 in breadth. It is called Great Bukharia to distinguish it from Little Bukharia in Chinese Tartary, which is but little known. Great Bukharia was the cradle and seat of the ancient Persian monarchy, and for a long period continued as a portion of that empire. It was also the native place of the famous Zoroaster, the famous Persian legislator. Question 6, which is the most fertile part of Tartary? And question 7, describe it, with question 8 being describe Turkestan. The most fertile part of all of independent Tartary is Olsog, so named from the river that flows through it. For 8 days, says Hawkel, we may travel in the country of Sog and not be out of one delicious garden. On every side are villages, rich cornfields, fruitful orchards, beautiful gardens, and rich meadows, intersected by numerous rivulets and canals, altogether presenting a most lively picture of industry and happiness. Turkestan, formerly a province of considerable extent, is now represented as a small country, watered by the river Karaso, which falls into the Sire or Sur. Question 9 asks what are its chief towns, and what was the capital of the Turks? Question 10 asks what events occurred here in the first centuries of the Christian era. And question 11, what do Mela and Pliny observe of these nations? Turkestan lies between Lake Aral on the west and the country of the Kalmucks on the east. Its chief towns are Taraz, Otra, Turkestan, and Tashkent, situated on the banks of the Sire, containing about 30,000 inhabitants. The capital of the Turks was at one time Taraz and afterwards Otra. Here it was in the first centuries of the Christian era that the Turks, descending from the Altaic mountains, established the center of their abode and gave to their country the name of Turkestan, from which they departed to make the conquest of the southwest part of Asia and of Greece. According to Pomponius Mela and Pliny, all the nations whom we denominate Tartars acknowledge the appellation of Turks as belonging to them in common. Question 12. Describe Turkomania. And question 13, in what manner do the inhabitants of Turkomania and Tartary generally live? Turkomania is a considerable province of independent Tartary, lying between the Caspian Sea and Lake Aral. It is said to be populous, but for the most part a sandy and rocky country, laboring under a great deficiency of water. These people live chiefly in tents or in caves among the rocks. They keep great numbers of camels, cattle and sheep, and like the Kyrgyz, they lead a wandering life. Question 14. Describe Kharizm. Kharizm is bounded on the north by Turkomania, east by Bukharia, south by Khorasan, and west by the Caspian Sea. Its chief town is Khiva, containing about 10,000 inhabitants. Question 15 to 18 asks about Balkh and to whom does it belong. Balkh, a province lying south of Bukharia, anciently formed a part of Bactriana. This country is now subject to the Afghans or the Kingdom of Kabul. Its capital is of the same name and is one of the most famous cities of the East. It is the Bactria of the Greeks and is said to be as large as Delhi, but the greater part of the houses are uninhabited. This city was for a long period the capital of the ancient kings of Persia. Balkh was formerly included in the Kingdom of Khorasan. This country is chiefly inhabited by Uzbeks, Afghans and Tanjits, who for the most part roam with their flocks in search of pasturage. The Uzbeks are simple, honest and humane, but the Afghans and Tanjets are said to be corrupt and dissolute. Question 19 asks us to describe the country of the Kyrgyz, and 20 asks how these people are divided. The country of the Kyrgyz comprises the northern part of independent Tartary and part of Russian Tartary, being an extensive tract to the north of the Caspian Sea and Aral Lake. These people are divided into 3 hordes, namely the Greater, the Middle, and Lesser Horde. They are of Tartarian origin and are distinguished by their features and manners of that race. They are supposed to amount to about 1 million. Of the country occupied by the Kyrgyz, the Russians in their maps include the whole within the limits of their empire, though their sovereignty is merely nominal. Question 22 asks how do they live, and 23 asks about their religion. The Kyrgyz dwell in tents, which they carry with them in their migrations from the banks of the Sia to the steppe of Isim. Their flocks and herds are very numerous, and some individuals among them possess a great share of pastoral wealth. Each horde is governed by a Khan, or prince of its own. Their religion is Mahometanism, intermixed with idolatrous superstition. They have no towns of their own, but for the purposes of traffic they frequent the towns of Siberia and those bordering on the Sia. Question 24. What are the chief cities of independent Tartary? The chief cities of independent Tartary are Samarkand, the celebrated capital of Tamerlane, Bukhara, which was often its rival, and Balkh, the emporium of the productions of India, but the latter is now included in the Kingdom of Kabul, as shown hereafter. For more information, see Afghanistan. Questions 25, 26, 27, and 28 asks us to describe what is said of Samarkand, Bukhara, and Bukharia. Samarkand was the ancient Maracanda, where Alexander the Great, in a fit of intoxication, killed Cletus, who had saved his life at the Battle of Granicus. It was also the birthplace of Tamerlane. This city was taken by Genghis Khan in 1220. It was long distinguished throughout the East as a seat of learning and possessed the most famous of the Mahometan universities. Bukhara was a city of great extent. The number of houses is said to exceed 120,000, and there are as many in the suburbs. Allowing about 4 inhabitants to 1 house, it will make the number amount to 960,000. Bukhara was known to the Greeks and Romans by the names of Bactriana and Sogdiana, and was for some time the seat of a Grecian kingdom. Question 29 asks what great events occurred here in the time of Alexander. It was upon the borders of the rivers Sia and Oxus towards the north, near the Lake Aral, that Alexander's course was stopped, amid the arid desert of Sogdiana, where no verdure nor streams were seen, being alike fearful to pause or proceed, till the evening sun pointed out the river Oxus in the vale below. Question 30. What is said of Genghis Khan? It was here that Genghis Khan in the 13th century met a rival in Muhammad, king of Khwarezm, who was bold enough to give him battle at Ottra and counterbalance his fate by checking his hitherto rapid career. Genghis proved the conqueror, and this victory extended his power to the Euphrates and to the very heart of India. 31. What is said of Tamerlane and Nadir Shah? Tamerlane made it his principal residence and seat of royalty. Here the ambassadors of all the sovereigns of the world came to pay their respects to the chief of the Moguls. Later still, it was the theatre of the exploits of Nadir Shah, who glorified in having been one of its natives. 32 and 33 asks us what occurred with Sultan Babur. A descendant of Timur, Sultan Babur was expelled in the year 1494 by the Uzbek Tartars, who established a powerful monarchy in Bukharia. Sultan Babur, immediately on being driven from Bukharia, with his Mughals penetrated into Hindustan, where he founded the Mughal Empire. Question 34. Who holds possession of Bukharia, and how is it divided? The Uzbek Tartars still possess Bukharia, which is now divided into districts and sub-districts, under officers appointed by the sovereign, who collect the revenue and dispense justice. The king of Bukharia's title is Commander of the Faithful. Question 35 and 36. What is said of the population of Bukharia, and what is the religion and government? The population of Bukharia consists chiefly of Uzbeks and Bukharians. The former live after their Tartarian manner, dwelling in tents in the summer and in towns and villages in the winter. The latter inhabit towns and cultivate the land. The religion of both is Mahometan, the government despotic. Now, in the question section, we do actually seem to be missing questions 37 and 38, but they generally seem to be about Bukharia. Bukharia is the medium of commerce between Persia, Kabul, Hindustan, China, and Russia, but it is little known to Europeans. The geography of this country is too little explored to lay down with accuracy the ranges of mountains which traverse it in different directions. Question 39. Where is the ancient Mount Imau, now called Bela Tag? On the east of Great Bukharia is a great ridge running north and south under the name of Bela Tag. the ancient Imau. This ridge unites on the south with the Hindu Kush and the Ghor Mountains, which, running east and west, divide Bukharia from Hindustan, Kabul and Persia. These mountains are covered with perpetual snow. Question 40 asks, what are the chief rivers of independent Tartary and their ancient names? The principal rivers of independent Tartary are the Amu and the Sir. The Oriental geographers called the Amu Jehun and the Sir Sihun. The Jehun takes its rise in the Belo Mountains, joins the river from Balkh and falls into the Lake Aral. Though formerly it ran into the Caspian Sea, its course having been changed by the Tartars. It is about 900 miles in length. The Sir Sash or Sihun also rises in the Belo Mountains, passes by Otra, and after a course of about 550 miles, falls into Lake Aral. Its chief lake is that of Aral, which signifies the Sea of Eagles. And finally, questions 43 and 44. What is the climate? The climate of independent Tartary in general is very healthy, but although lying in the parallel of Spain, Greece and Asiatic Turkey, both summer and winter are much colder, and in the north part, the winters sometimes are extremely severe. This moderated heat in summer and severity of cold in winter are caused by the proximity of the deserts of Siberia and of the mountains of Tibet, which are covered with perpetual snow. So that's the end of that section from this 1835 history book, distributed to American schools and academies in the mid-1800s. This is before the Civil War, so pre-Civil War history information. Make sure you check out the other sections if you're interested, or watch the whole video to see them all in one place.